Hello, Fiona. How are you doing?
Hi. As you can see, I'm back in my it's too warm space.
I think this top might be making a number of appearances because it's the one that allows for airflow.
Yeah, same. I've got linen, one of my work blouses on because I've been at work today. But yeah. It's a warm summer. It's a
It is,
warm one this year. Yeah.
definitely. Ooh, okie
Anyway,
dokie.
our topic this week. So she
Yes.
grabbing a glass of water, not
Yeah,
tea
not even a cup
today.
of tea.
No, I've actually got pomegranate and elderflower cordial. Um, our topic this week is da 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 dun.
Writing skills.
Yay! Which
Yes.
I love writing. I do a lot of creative writing.
I feel I would do more creative writing perhaps if I was in the classroom, in the in-person
Oh,
classroom.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but
But
you can't
never
really
mind.
monitor so easily online.
Yeah, and I think as well that I still have this feeling that the time is precious in the online classroom. They could do the writing at home. I need to get out of that next year, I think. But never mind. Anyway, top tips
Right.
for writing.
Give me your first.
Yes, so one thing that I've noticed with my teen groups, there's one student in particular who he's a very strong student, but his written compositions have a very spoken feel to them,
Oh yeah.
both in terms of the phrasing. For example, he will use phrases like for sure,
Yeah.
um,
To be honest.
uh, and as well, kind of, it sometimes reads, it reads as he speaks, because I know what he speaks, how he speaks English.
Yeah.
And so I think a top tip is it's not just about register, but it's just about recognizing that written communication is different to spoken
Yeah.
communication, I think. Yeah.
And within that as well, there are different grades of formality. It's not
Yeah.
quite as simple as formal and informal.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And using words like staff and yeah. Yep.
And I mean, that's the thing as well. We're getting people are preparing because I do a lot of exam preparation in
Yeah.
terms of written work, and they're preparing younger and younger for higher level exams where they're
Yeah,
expected to
it's
be
true.
using much more formal language in situations they've never been in, writing
Yeah.
proposals and
A
things like
letter
that.
of complaint.
Yeah, but
Oh,
never mind. Well, that's more of a grumble about exams, but never mind. So,
exactly, yeah.
what would be your top tip?
I think the first thing, and this is even before writing, is I show my students different texts from a distance
Huh?
and get them to tell me what kind of text they think it is. And that makes them think, again, it's a similar kind of thing. It makes them more aware of the fact that writing isn't just putting words on a piece of paper.
Hmm.
It might be putting them in a particular place on the
Hmm.
paper or, different, where the paragraphs are or where's the heading or, are there stars at the top for a review or how long something is. You can see instructions even if they're not numbered, they're going to be short.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You could see, I don't know, a TV show review, you can. So yeah, some of that sort of from the distance, a selection of texts, and then like a quiz. Okay, I'm going to stand here, pairs. Don't anybody shout out. Just write down what kind of text you think it is,
Because
and then we work from there.
I think it's something I always say to my students, again, thinking about exam preparation. Before the assessor even starts reading your text, they can see the
Yeah,
layout. And if they're expecting to read an email and it looks like an email, already they're kind of primed to go,
yeah,
I'm in a good mood for this. Whereas if they're expecting to read an email and it's got a title and subheadings,
yeah.
they're going to go, oh, hang on, this person doesn't know what they're doing.
It's a little like I mean, this is it isn't on topic. I do a session, and I'll be doing it this coming Monday on slides for presentations. And there's two slides I use where they have to compare and say which one they like better. And it works as well with writing in that if you produce a kind of wall of text thing and that it reaches right to the bottom of the piece of paper with no lower margin, and then compare it with something that's paragraphed properly and has space all the way around. And
Mhm.
then again, that's something you can show from a distance. They don't even need to be able to read the
Yeah,
content.
yeah,
Look at it. Which would you be more comfortable reading? Okay, now why is that a benefit, whether it's in an exam because it's more comfortable for the examiner to read, or just because as a piece of text, it is more recognizable
yeah.
if it has a lower margin, if it has paragraphs that are noticeable, because they're a form of signposting. So,
Mm.
so I do stuff on that first. It's sort of just general awareness, even before we start, because people think writing skills, oh yeah, that's putting words in a sentence and then in a paragraph and then in a text. But it's not just that, it's a whole, there's more to it, basically.
Yeah.
What's your next tip?
Well, so with this idea of kind of just putting words on paper, I think um we talked about it before
Or on
in
screen?
the what?
Or on screen, yeah.
Or on screen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Around using AI
Ah,
because not for me, it's not about students getting AI to write the text, but um I think I mentioned before that I do have some good students who will look up pieces of vocabulary, so they'll try and upgrade their own texts through,
mm-hmm.
things that they find online, but then they always highlight them so that
Yeah.
it's very clear for me that that wasn't their own language.
Mm-hmm.
But then also it's really clear for them how this was used. And then if I give it a tick and it's like, yep, that was perfect, that fit the situation. Yeah. Yep.
So I think my next one, okay, I'll try and follow up with an AI one.
Well, I mean, what about anything around upgrades as well?
Well, yeah, no, I'll come to upgrades in a minute. But
Uh-huh.
first, let me just think about AI because I'm just thinking something about okay, I'm very reticent about AI because I don't believe in training the things and I don't know the water and whatever. However, I do creative writing, and I know that a couple of my friends, what they do is when they've written a short story, they feed it into AI and ask AI to give it titles. All right. And they do that as a way of checking that they've conveyed the ideas that they want to convey.
Hmm.
Well, that could work for our students as well if if we had negotiated rules whereby they could use AI for something, or we use it in class, not in their free time, not alone. They could potentially put in essays or something and get AI to give them like a two-sentence summary or a like give us 3 bullet points of the main, it's like
Hmm.
summarizing the main points, just so that they can check if they're expressing what or if they're saying what they think they're saying, basically.
Now I'm thinking about AI.
Mm.
And again,
Mm.
I don't certainly don't want to encourage my students to use it too much, but
No, this is
you
it. Yeah.
could probably, because uh, AI knows a lot about the different exams and the formats and things, you could potentially feed your text in and then ask it to reverse engineer the prompt that text is
Ah, yeah,
answering.
similar kind of thing. Yeah. Okay.
And then the kind
Yeah.
of the students could come back, like you could say to it, this is an answer to a question which ha originally had three prompts. It's for a
Exactly. Yeah.
B1
IELTS or whatever.
exam
Yeah.
of this. Yeah.
Mm.
What do you imagine the original prompt was?
Yeah, exactly. This kind of thing. Yeah. So it's not quite the same as summarizing, but it would have the same effect to see if you've actually done what you think you've
Yeah.
done. If you've written something completely different.
Yeah.
Right, what's your next tip? I'm keeping my upgrade one for a minute. Tell
What
us.
is my next tip? Um, we've already covered paragraphs because I think,
Uh-huh.
and sentence length. Okay,
Mhm.
so Spanish people, and I've noticed now as well, Italians tend to use much longer sentences than we do
Mm.
in English. Um, so I always encourage my students to think or to kind of then I do get them to count how many words are in a sentence because I have seen sentences that are 75 words long, and it's a paragraph. Or maybe there's a topic sentence and then there's another sentence and
Oh,
that makes
yeah.
up their paragraph. Um, so yeah, getting them aware of how, what's the word? Blah, blah, I've completely, my mind's gone blank. The way that Spanish writing, Italian writing in the first language is different in that regard.
All right.
The
Yeah, the actual kind of
conventions, the
discourse and that.
conventions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, tell me about your upgrades.
No, I'm going to keep it. I'm
No.
going to tell you another one first. Just because I can remember the upgrade one, and this other one will run away before I get to it. Um, Another thing I do with my students, particularly if they're preparing exams, but it doesn't have to be, it's just to get them thinking about language. Gosh, suddenly I've got loads of ideas. Is just write a lot, or rather a little but often. So a
Mhm,
lot in terms of frequency.
mhm.
So that we have like 10-minute writing sprints or 5-minute writing sprints in class, and just so they're getting into the handwriting and it's sort of conveying their thoughts in a written form, which, as you've mentioned before, is not the same as spoken.
Mhm.
So I do a lot of writing journals. I encourage my students to write a journal. I buy them all a notebook. I buy them just a jotter. You know what I mean
Yeah.
by jotter? Like an exercise book, not a fancy notebook. If they want a fancy notebook, they can buy one, but they're gonna get a simpler one from me. And I like jotters because they can draw on the front and they can make it their own, and then they write. Some of them write every day. Every single year, I have of say, I'm going to say 10. Of every 10 students or so, maybe two will do the journaling.
Yeah.
But those two will do so much better
Mm.
in the first exams that then the others will start, not all of them, but something is better than nothing.
Yeah.
So I usually start with maybe two of them are doing it, and then, two or three more will pick it up.
Yeah.
And it really makes a difference. And it's just the frequency and actually being in the habit of writing because it's a mindset, not just
Mm.
a hand skill. Yeah, so I think that, and then, story cube, speedy writing short stories and that
Thinking
kind of thing.
about making it a habit. So the school that I work for, and they do actually have a school like SKOOL, and it's a little community which is kind of it's got a Facebook feel to it in that they can post photos, they can write texts, and then people can like and reply, etc. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but and it's all adults, but I see so many of them putting into practice new phrases that they've learned.
Yeah.
Um, and it's really wonderful. I mean, this is a very public, not public as in anyone can see it. It's a closed community, but it's very public in
But
that they
still
can read each
sharing.
other's
Yeah.
comments.
Yeah, it's still sharing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really heartwarming to see. And so I think another thing I would suggest is if you do have this kind of public writing forum, really praising, but genuine praise when you see them using that new bit of vocabulary or
Yeah.
doing that sort of thing, because then it motivates everyone, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Writing can be such a lovely thing to do in class. I do a lot of writing poetry, writing haiku, writing marketing copy, which is good because you can show them text online I often use the Pucker Tees website, and they're very good at like the text. They have a little short text describing each tea, and there's a tea called Nighttime. And there's a lot of words with s and z sounds in them in the description. And then there's another, I don't know, boost your energy kind of tea. I can't remember the name. And it's all and b and t and they're sort of energetic sounds. And we have a look and we think about the sounds and the words and how do they achieve this mood and do do do, and then go right now choose something and we look at some products and they choose a product and they write marketing copy, or
Yeah.
they invite people to come to Oxford in the winter or the spring. Sort of so they winter. What kind of sound? Right, we want some ksh and some crunch and some, and then they think about the
Awesome.
adjectives they know. So that's another thing that you can do,
Yeah.
kind of mood writing.
Yeah, I think as well that that idea of how the tone of your writing
Mm.
can really impact the reader as
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
and knowing when you need to use language which is more sympathetic, when you need to use language which is more pragmatic, things like that as well,
How
really.
to be passive aggressive in English.
Yes. Definitely very British.
I was wondering if you could possibly help me with a small problem that I think I might be having. Huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. Ah, fabulous. Cool. Well,
Upgrade.
yes, because we've got time for probably one more and then a
I
wind up.
know, all right,
So.
upgrade, upgrade. What I do a lot with my students is this thing we call upgrading language. They write a story or they've written a letter or an email, whatever it is, and we've checked the grammar basically. And then we go back and we look at the vocabulary and we say, okay, but you want to impress me, so you don't want to use the word big. Do you know any other words for big? Oh, yeah, no, or whatever. And we look up words for big and then we look up the meanings and we check and we find some synonyms useful. So and then we say, okay, what are you going to do for with big? And they change it.
Mhm.
They've done one word, and then you can either get them to circle adjectives, nouns, whatever that they want to be upgraded, and then they swap, or they can work on their own. And it usually we do working on their own to start with, so they get a kind of an idea of what they're doing without messing up somebody else's
Yeah.
text. But after once or twice, then we start swapping text, and then they're looking and, oh, that could be upgraded, or that can be upgraded. So you get things like, I don't know, my tea's getting cold. So they get cold because I was saying, I don't want any gets in this stuff. Oh, all right, we need to upgrade get cold. So gets past the next person and goes, all right, it's cooling down, yay, much better.
Mm.
It's that kind of thing. And it's getting them to think about the fact that it's not just grammar when they're getting grades or doing an exam. Yeah, okay, you did a third conditional, you might get some points there. But if you always use the same, it's big, it's pretty, it's nice,
Mhm.
it was heavy, it was cold, this sort of thing, it was cold. Oh, it was hot. No, piping hot. Okay. So then it's this idea of upgrading. So we
Yeah.
do that, and they actually really, really enjoy it. And sometimes, depending on the topic, like if it's an exam topic, I'll have some, the typical, a column of words like good, bad, big, whatever, and then a mixed up column, and then they match. Maybe the first time we do it that way,
Mm.
so that they see how they can upgrade
Yeah.
and then step by step spot it themselves. So if you do that, should we say synonymy stuff, great, but then just take it to them, pass it to them. You find the words that you can upgrade. Now you look in a dictionary and find something, or in a
Mhm.
thesaurus and find a phrase that would be better. You get rid of all the gets or the nices and the bigs and the and the a bit of and
Mm.
whatever. So yeah, that's another thing I do a lot with writing. But yeah, but I do get them to write quite a lot. So short
Yeah.
amounts, but regularly.
Yeah, yeah, I think like you say, it's
Mm.
habit forming, it's getting
Yeah.
them accustomed to
Have a
writing
WhatsApp
and
group. I have a WhatsApp group with my students, and then we message
mm,
each other in English. I mean, okay, they're predictive text, but they're still seeing what's written
hmm hmm
and reading. I bet a lot of people do that. But yeah,
yeah, definitely.
I think students now they do still write, they just write shorter, so we need to get them to
Yes.
think a bit more about register, as you said at the beginning, and get them
And
writing longer.
and also linking because probably when you're I mean I do write quite long messages on WhatsApp. I'm
Yeah.
not one of those people that writes a line. sends a line, sends. But yeah, getting them used to using, making things more cohesive rather than just bum,
Yes.
bum, 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 like they might do in a
Oh
text.
yeah, yeah. And editing. Editing's a biggie. I mean, I don't know how long it takes you to write a business email or something, but it takes me ages because I write it and I leave it for a bit and I come back and I rewrite it and I check and I never
Hmm.
just, or very rarely, just fire out an email.
Hmm.
But that's a good skill to have is editing your own work as well.
Yep.
The whole predictive text thing is problematic in that people often they don't reread or they and they just send it and then turns out that the predictive text has changed half of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, editing and kind of taking owning your own writing as well, not just leaving it to the tech to do it. So
Fab.
yeah.
Well,
Ta-da!
I've run out of, I don't know how many tips we've given, but
Quite a lot.
quite a lot.
We'll have to count and then
Send us a message in the comments. How many tips did
yeah,
we give?
exactly.
And if you've
And
got
add
any
some
others
more.
to add, drop them in the comments or over on Instagram or Facebook. We will
Oh
enjoy reading
yeah.
them. And LinkedIn as well.
I might be upstairs for the next episode though. There's a lot of light behind me here.
Well, I will see you again soon then, Fiona.
You will.
Cheerio!
Bye.